This book beholds a lot of recipes and a lot of mysteries. Today I learned that not all pectins were created equal. Hello, I'm Lisa, and it's a series where I try to recreate dessert masterpieces by Cedric Grolet in my home kitchen. Mind, I'm not a professional pastry chef, or any chef. I was a bit traumatized by my croissant making experience. Disaster alert, the butter started melting. Expectations? Reality. So today I'll try to bake something that doesn't involve puff pastry, because God knows I need a break. I flipped through Cedric Grolet's cookbook Opéra. Actually, the first chapter is packed with puff pastry, so no. However, in the second chapter I found this citrus baba, and I believe it's Cedric Grolet's spin on the classic rum baba recipe. It seems intriguing enough. I love citrusy desserts, so that's what I'm making today, or at least attempt to make. Armed with a pinch of determination and a whole lot of skepticism, let's see if I'll be able to make our imaginary friend Cedric Grolet happy and proud today. Let's get started. When it comes to the dough, the mise en place is pretty straightforward and understandable. There are no problems there. The interesting part starts later, but for now I'm making the dough. I start with dissolving 1 teaspoon of active dry yeast with some water. There it is. Set aside for a little. Now I start filling the mixing bowl. Once again I halved the ingredients because I believe I'll still get plenty of babas. The yeast is waiting, so now I add 225 grams of all-purpose flour. Done. 2 grams of salt. It's this much. Then I add 70 grams of unsalted butter at room temperature. The next step is 8 grams of honey. Time to add the yeast. Well, this will be added later, so for now I should start kneading the dough. The recipe calls for a standing mixer with the hook attachment, and I deliver. The recipe says that the mixer should start kneading the dough, and I should gradually add 5 eggs and 13 grams of milk. I believe it needs some scraping, and now the mixer will continue to knead the dough at the second speed until it comes away from the sides of the bowl. I think it's done. The dough is very runny. I think it's normal considering we used 5 whole eggs, so I will probably pipe it. The book doesn't say a word about it. Surprise, surprise! What the book says though, spread the dough in a donut pan, and it specifies the brand. Pavoni. Pavoni. I don't know, it's Italian or something. Let's check. Pavoni, sorry, the Italians. Funny enough, it specifies the brand, but doesn't specify the size. Because I looked through this Pavoni website, it has quite a few donut pans of different sizes, so it's not very helpful. The picture in the book is not very helpful as well. As you can see, it has donuts of different diameter. So preparing for the video, I didn't manage to find what size of donuts we're talking about, and ordered whatever silicone mold was available online. If you're interested, it's about 7.5 centimeters in diameter. Now I will prepare the dough for piping. I have a simple round nozzle. Now I fill the piping bag. So here I have a whole piping bag. I need scissors. That's too much dough, so to prevent awful leakage, I will fix it. I no longer need you. I'm filling the donut pan. Once again, the book doesn't specify how far should I go, so I don't know. The dough has yeast, so it will rise. So I'm filling the donut molds halfway through. Even halving the recipe, I have way too much dough, so I don't know. I need another mold or pan. I will use this cupcake mold, and once again I will fill them halfway through. I bet there will be still dough left. Some left, I don't know, maybe.
One eternity later.
It's a never-ending dough batch, so I'll use another cupcake tray. Some scraping, probably. That's it. Finally, I'm out of dough. And now it's time to solve the biggest mystery of all. Should I let the dough proof before baking, or should I bake it straight away? The book says nothing about proofing. However, according to my very humble and very unprofessional experience, whenever the dough has yeast, it is usually given time to rise. You know, if it was my first rodeo with this cookbook, I would listen to it and send the dough to the oven straight away. And here is a plot twist. Under my croissant video, I got a very knowledgeable comment saying that the English version of this cookbook has a lot of inaccuracies, and I presume I shouldn't trust it that blindly. And probably there should be more research.
Traditionally invented in Russia. My awesome venture bakers, welcome back to the channel.
So every baba recipe online says that it should proof first. I don't know. I will check Cedric Grolet's Instagram to see maybe there's a video that can shed some light on his baba's technique. Maybe it's not that important. I don't know. I feel like a mad detective who is obsessed with the case and starts making this crazy board where every photo is connected with a red string. And his friends are telling him, you're not alright, stop it. And he doesn't stop. That's me right now. Well, I think I found something. Once again. In the video, it looks like Cedric's baba's had proofing. The case is closed. I'm sending these fellas to proof for, I don't know, 14 minutes. It's not much, but still, they'll be proofing. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's quite a puzzle. You know what? My research took at least 10 minutes, so probably the proofing will be 30 minutes long, because it already got some time. So now I'm covering the dough with damp towel and send the tray to the oven with lights on and wait. Meanwhile, let's make the syrup and the glaze. I'll start with the syrup. 500 milliliters of water go in. Then I add 250 grams of fine sugar. The book calls for 1 vanilla bean, but I have a good quality vanilla paste, and 1 vanilla bean equals 1 teaspoon of vanilla paste, so I'm adding it. Then I have to add the zest of 1 orange and 1 lemon, and the final ingredient of the syrup is dark rum, 125 milliliters. Now I have to mix everything, and then I'll put this saucepan on low-medium heat and let the mixture infuse for 25 minutes. I believe the syrup doesn't need my constant attention, so I'm leaving it for 25 minutes and get down to making the glaze. Actually, that's the component that makes this recipe interesting. I had to do some scouting. First of all, I had 200 grams of apricot puree. To tell the truth, all I found was baby food. I think it's no big deal because, I don't know, it's for babies. It's pure. And it has only one ingredient. The next ingredient is more peculiar. It's glucose powder. I don't think home cooks ever use it, I tried to find it online, but the only place I could find it was pharmacy. I hope that glucose powder from pharmacy works as well as the one pro chefs use. I mean, they should be identical chemistry-wise. So now I have to mix this magic powder with the puree. Now I have to mix 75 grams of superfine sugar with 3 grams of pectin. I've used pectin before, but apparently not all pectins are created equal, and the recipe calls for NH version. If somebody needs this information, this type of pectin has less calcium and it makes it thermally reversible, which is good for cooking, obviously. Apparently this type of pectin can rarely be found in your ordinary grocery store, but stores for professional bakers usually have it. I add this magic special pectin to sugar. Boom. The recipe also specifies that the pectin should be warm. I don't know what it means. Mine was room temperature. Hopefully it'll be fine. After all, I bought that fancy thermal reversible type. Well, now it's time to combine my puree mixture with pectin and sugar. I mix it. Now I should boil it for a few minutes. The boiling part is done, and now I will refrigerate this mixture. And the glaze is ready. So proofing is done. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, it rose a little, and now it's ready to be baked. Actually, the baking process will be quite unconventional. For the first 15 minutes, the babas should bake in the oven preheated to 180 degrees Celsius. For the next 15 minutes, the temperature should be reduced to 160 degrees Celsius. And finally, the babas get 6 minutes at 140 degrees Celsius. Time's up. The babas are out of the oven, and now I have to make sure that the syrup is the right temperature. It should be fairly warm. I have to reheat it. Okay, so now it's 45 degrees Celsius, which is 115 degrees Fahrenheit. I wonder when the world will have a universal measuring system, preferably metric one. So now I have to immerse the babas in syrup, and first I have to unmold them. Okay, it looks cute. There's enough room for this 6. They have donut shape, so they're my priority. However, there is still room for this one and this one and maybe this one. Okay, I'll save these for later. And now I will pour the syrup over these babas. They should sit in the syrup for 45 minutes. Maybe I will disturb them from time to time. And then I will remove them, reheat the syrup, and submerge this batch. Very sweet. It's 45 minutes later, and now I have to put this babas on a rack to drain. That's done. Now back to the glaze. It cooled down completely. It has this hardened gel texture. So now I will boil it and then brush these cuties. We are nearly there. It's boiling again. Okay. I believe it's time to glaze this donut babas. The book says that I should simply brush to coat the babas. Should I glaze only one side or two? I don't know. The book says nothing. I'm not surprised. At this point, I don't know, the picture is not very informative too. I will glaze them at both sides. The more the merrier. I believe we used all those magical ingredients in our glaze to help it set once it cools down. Maybe I will simply dip them. It's a nice glaze, but I don't know, it's a bit too sweet. I would prefer it to be on the tannier side, but I followed the recipe, so here is what I have. I think it's a good idea to properly dip them. Ow! It's hot. 2 final ones. No, it's too sweet to lick it all. It's definitely too sweet. So now I should give this glaze time to set. Meanwhile, I will prepare the final component, the chantilly cream, which is a fancy name for your ordinary whipped cream. The book says that for the soft vanilla cream, prepare the cream the previous day. Mix the cream with the sugar and vanilla seeds. Strain through a conical sieve, then add the scraped vanilla bean and infuse for 24 hours in the refrigerator. I'm not sure it was necessary for me to make it the day before because I was using vanilla paste instead of whole vanilla bean, but I think it didn't hurt. So now I have to whip it to soft peaks. If you're interested, this cream has 150 grams of heavy cream, 1 teaspoon of vanilla paste, and 15 grams of superfine sugar. Vanilla paste is a more affordable version and it still gives you this cute spot of vanilla. I have no idea why I'm doing it by hand. I normally use a mixer, but it's a common knowledge that cool people whip cream manually as it gives more control. So I decided to try and I regret it. Never again. I'm nearly there. The cream is ready and somehow I managed to over whip it. Whatever. The glaze is set and I can serve my citrus baba. Some vanilla cream. Time to try this baba that cosplays donut. Cheers. You know what's interesting? When I tried all the components separately, they seemed intolerably sweet. But now when I'm trying it all together, it's not that disastrous. That said, it's still a bit too sweet. What I like about this baba is that it's not too boozy. It has a nice rum aftertaste, but it's not too alcoholic. So even people who don't like alcohol like me can appreciate this dessert. The glaze has an interesting texture. It gives a certain tanginess, but it's not citrusy enough to be called citrus baba. If one day I decide to make these babas again, I will probably make a different kind of syrup. I will add lemon juice to it and less sugar, so it will be like on a tangier side. My main critique of this dessert is that it's too sweet. But truth be told, every rum baba I've ever eaten was too sweet, so probably it's just the essence of this dessert. I don't know. This donut with surprise looks a lot like the one you see in the picture, so I believe this attempt can be qualified as success, regardless of my sweetness level preferences. However, once again I'm assured that this book is not very detailed. I don't know, maybe it was written for professionals and professionals don't need information on proofing or silicone mold sizes, but I do. And now I know that there's a chance that some vital information was lost in translation. By the way, who translated it? Drumroll please. Translation by Cilero and Demoto. I hope my pronunciation is not too offensive, but Cilero and Demoto, you had one job. Think about it. Despite the difficulties, I love that all these recipes are very challenging and it makes the outcome very unexpected. So let me know if there are any other complex recipes you want me to try and document the process. Thank you for watching. Bye! Inedible. Despite the difficulties. No special equipment and zero professional background. It's a series where I try to... God knows, I need a break.